Okay, so we just got done with a great trail ride here at AOAA, and I got to thinking, one thing that commonly comes up whenever you get a bunch of people with Jeeps together is they want to know what parts you put on your Jeep and what kind of recovery equipment you have and tools, and what do you bring? So figured it'd be, good idea to go over what kind of stuff that I put in the Gladiator and normal off-road trip. So recovery boards are essential because even if you don't have a winch, these things can come in really handy. And if you want to know why I keep them where I keep them, there's a video for that. Just look back. So I keep rain jacket because you just never know. Keep an assortment of tools, a little bit of everything that I've come up with watching other videos and just by the parts that I have on the Jeep. And then I have another container, and I did a different color to, it's easy reference so you know what's in what. This is a bunch of repair parts and, just basic trail repair stuff. And it goes in hand with the tools. We're gonna do this video kind of one take style. So I'm not real good at editing, which is to say I don't really know how to do that yet. So we're just gonna let the camera roll. We're gonna see where it goes. Most important, first aid kit. You want it to be somewhere where it's easily accessible, so it doesn't get much easier than that. Have a tarp in case you need to lay down in the dirt. Have a variety of lanyards. It's good for when you're winching or if you need to tie off to your recovery board so you don't lose them in the mud. I have my air up and air down tools in here. I have the tire rods where you can lower your spare tire. I have a jack and a plate for the jack. And all the way in the back I have a tire repair kit, another, in my opinion, must have. Sometimes if you can prevent taking off a tire and just patch it, sometimes you're better off. And I apologize for the noise, but we are right outside of a campground. And in here, I keep a lot of, I have for my PSC, I keep some fluid in there. I got an extra quart of oil, some hand cleaner, some lubricant in case you start getting squeaks, and some brake fluid because you want to be able to stop. If you break open a brake line, you got to be able to put something back in there so you can stop again. All right, now we're going to move into the inside. You go here, I'll go around. So inside here, this bag is full of a variety of recovery gear, shackles, straps. We have a kinetic rope for depending on what type of stuck you are. I have a high lift jack. See, we got some nature that came back with us. We'll just go ahead and throw that back into nature. I have a high lift jack under here. Wrapped it in a towel and bungeed it down. It does not make a sound when you're on the trail. It's really nice. I keep a poncho rain suit in here. Inside here, gotta have your trail toilet paper. I don't think I need to go into more detail. Some extra rags, a socket set. I keep a 1/2-inch torque wrench in here because when I get done on the trail, I like to go around and torque my lug nuts down just to make sure, because you'd be surprised how many people will leave here, have loose lug nuts, they're driving 70 miles down the road and their tire all of a sudden flies off. So that's one thing I always do before I leave is check, make sure the lug nuts are still tight. I keep a folding shovel or an E-tool for all you military types. I have a pry tool and a bag full of a variety of sizes of wrench. And then in this, I keep some off-road training manuals I got in case I ever really get stuck somewhere and I need to try to remember stuff. It's easier to have reference material. Keep a roll of paper towels and and a socket set, a 1/2-inch impact set, for no other reason than it's easy to transport. Oh, and another important, keep a fire extinguisher easily accessible. I know it could be more easily accessible, but I try to set everything up to where when the doors are off, there's nothing that walkers by are going to get sticky fingers and want to grab. So I try to keep everything as hidden as possible, and they're lockable. Then as we make our way across the front, another good item to have when you're on the trail is good communication. I use what's called a GMRS radio. I am by no means an expert. I did not install it myself, but the people who did, they're experts. I find that when I'm out here riding with Off-Road Consulting at Roush Creek and AOAA, they're the trail guides, they all use this. So this is a communication tool I use. Is it the best? That's up for speculation. It's all about your preference and what the people that are riding with you are using. So I'm not a fanboy of any platform. I use that because that's what works for me in my situation. I have a seatbelt cutter in case you get stuck and you're in a rollover situation or somebody else is. Put this in the strap, you can pull. You get trapped inside, you can smack the glass to help you get out. I keep it off the side over here in a little pouch, which is just Velcroed, so if I was really panicking and something happened to me, I could just pull the whole thing out. We have our 67 Designs mount for our phones. It's set up this way for when we're doing trail videos. And then I have S-Pod. It runs my lockers, my compressor, and my fog lights. Then we'll work our way around to the front. We have a Warn Xeon 10S winch. And I don't have the wireless winch controller. I have the wired winch. I forgot to show you that. Since we're on the subject, anything that is going to be used in a pucker factor situation, I like to keep close by. Use the branch saw a few times a day, so I had that close by. Good pair of gloves in any kind of a situation is good to have. And I keep my winch controller right here. It's tucked in there. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind until you need it. So we'll work our way back up front. This is where everything plugs into the S-Pod, and then this goes to the inside to where you can use the buttons. I have a compressor, an ARB dual compressor mounted to the firewall. And this is the chuck for when I want to plug in my air hose to air up my tires. As far as gear goes and tools, that's pretty much about it for now. I'm still in the early phases of this hobby, so I have what I have. There's things that I still want to add, but for the majority of the situations and scenarios that I get into, I find that what I've got right now is working good for me at this point. As I start getting into more technical and difficult things, sometimes you learn by something breaks and you don't have a part, so then you add it. Or sometimes you're like, oh, I'm going to be doing, this type of difficulty. I want to make sure I have the ability to get out of this type of situation. Everybody's going to be different. I don't think there's any right or wrong. It's just a matter of what works best for you. And that'll do it for today. So have a great day and hope to see you on the trail.